Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Chris. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite notes in perfumery, coconut. Now, coconut is not a note that is easy to wear year-round. It really, to me, is spring and summer. So when the spring and summer roll around, I get so excited to pull out my coconut fragrances because it is one of my favorite notes. And summer is one of my favorite times of the year. Now, being a huge fan of coconut and perfumes, I have a lot of fragrances with coconut in them, and I had to be really picky with this video. There are a ton of fragrances I'll be talking about, but there are several, I would say maybe 10, that did not make the video because I realized I really wasn't wearing them and they will be moving on. I really think I covered the spectrum. I think if you enjoy the note of coconut, there is something for everybody. And I have some fragrances on the lower end, and I have more luxury leaning fragrances, feminine, masculine, unisex, you name it. I've got a bunch, and so I'm just gonna dive right in. I'm gonna start with one of my newest pickups. Now, I told you this was on my wish list and it was coming to me, and it is called Blue Heart by Tamine. Now, this is one of the few coconut fragrances that, to me, I could wear year round. So this is a summer date night coconut fragrance, but it is a heady, ambery floral perfume with some spices and some coconut, so it could be worn year round. But this is going to get most of its wearing in the next couple months at night. This is a sexy date night perfume. Now, the flower in here is an iris or orris butter, so it's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit more buttery. It has saffron in here, but the saffron does not come out as leather. It has a subtle but nice ambery sweetness. This is not foodie at all. This is not tropical drink. This is not suntan lotion. This really does stand on its own as a beautiful kind of a head turner fragrance. Now, even though a lot of the notes read heady and it does come off a little bit strong, it's not really a beast. I would say it's a moderate wearer, and but I can get at least 4 to 6 hours out of it. Not a beast. I do kind of like that because if it was any stronger, I think it would be a little bit too overwhelming with all those heavy notes. But love it. Glad it is in my collection. The other one I've had before I had my channel. This is on the opposite end of the spectrum. This is a gourmand coconut. It's very light. It's very delicate. It's very airy. It is something I could definitely wear year round. I love to wear it spring, summer, and fall. And it is Danza de Libellule. It's always a tongue twister for me. Let's just call it La Danza, shall we? Anyways, I think it means Dance of the Dragonflies or Flight of the Dragonflies. It's a very light, delicate fragrance. This is centered around the note of apple, and I believe it's like a red apple, or at least it smells like a red apple to me, but coconut is in the mix. So to make it short, this smells like an apple galette, so a light apple pie without a lot of the heavy, thick sweetness. And it has like a whipped creamy quality to it. I would say it's like an apple galette or a light apple pie with a coconut whipped cream on top. So it's gourmand, it's sweet, but it's not overpowering and it's not overly cloying, at least to me. And I find this very easy to wear in the summer, and it's just a lovely, lovely light fragrance. It actually is light enough wearing that I have worn it to work, and it doesn't offend people. Now, one of my favorite Kayali fragrances is the one right here. It is Kayali Utopia Vanilla Cocoa 21. Now, this is a tropical floral coconutty perfume that delicately dances that line of being a little sunscreeny or suntan lotion like, but it doesn't really kind of delve too far into that category. That's not a fragrance category that I really love anymore. I used to like that type of a fragrance. I've kind of grown out of it, and this just has just enough of that vibe, but it's not overwhelmingly so. You definitely have to love white flowers. This is very white floral heavy. You definitely have to enjoy coconut, but the coconut is not, you know, too thick, too creamy, too sweet. This feels like a summer getaway, a luxury summer resort. It's absolutely beautiful. I love to wear it on hot days. I pulled it out a couple times to wear it in the winter for whatever reason. I was just really kind of craving the florals that are in here, and it is quite lovely, quite pretty, and Picky Pat finds this quite nice. The other one that is a floral salty vanilla, one of my favorite salty vanillas. I never thought I would love an alien flanker, but I do. This is Alien Goddess. This is not the intense. I haven't even smelled the intense version. I don't want to, I don't need to, because I love this. It's like, You know, the enemy of good is better. And I've heard that the Goddess Intense has a lot more jasmine, so it's not going to be for me. The jasmine in the Alien perfumes tends to be a little bit too indolic. It's not indolic here. It's very white. It's recognizable as a jasmine, but it's not indolic. And it has this lovely, light, non-gourmand, vanillic sweetness. And the coconut in here is, I want to say it's coconut water. So it gives it this kind of this salty, beachy, solar vibe. So it's very, very light. It has a lightness to it. It's sweet, but it has a lightness to it. And even though it doesn't contain the note of salt, I detect some saltiness. And I'm thinking it's from the coconut water, because coconut water is like an electrolyte. If you've ever had coconut water, it has this little background. It's not overly sweet. It's a little bit minerally. So I do get like a minerally saltiness in here. One of my favorite salty vanillas. I love to wear it in the summer. It's beautiful. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I showed a cleanly formulated fragrance. I do have people in my audience that only wear vegan fragrances or cleanly formulated fragrances, and I have a coconut that is cleanly formulated from the house of Skylar. This is called Coconut Cove. What I did not know is the perfumer is Sarah Horowitz. She is a famous fragrance nose, and she has her own fragrance brand, and they are cleanly formulated. But this is one of my frustrations with Skylar, even though I think they all smell very, very good, is that the performance on me has tended to be quite poor. Now, the performance on this Coconut Cove is actually very good, and it's probably because it has a molecular vibe. It might have ambroxan or something similar to that. So it is a coconut perfume that has a molecular vibe. So it's coconutty, I get a nuttiness, it's airy, it's a little bit woody, it's a little bit floral, but not overly floral, and it doesn't kind of veer into that sunscreen vibe at all. There's something in here, I get something nutty, like a dusty nuttiness, in addition to the coconut. It's almost like an almond note in here. I don't think almond is part of the note profile, but I do get like an almondy, dusty quality. So it's giving it a little bit of powderiness, and the florals in here, if I didn't say so, are probably white florals. I would say like maybe jasmine or tuberose, but they are light, they're not screechy. Now, even though this is not a beast mode, none of these are beast mode, the performance on this is actually quite good. So the next coconut perfume to me is like summer happiness in a bottle. I like to wear really bright, juicy, fruity fragrances in the summer. They just seem very, very refreshing, particularly on a hot day. And one of my favorites has always been Sunplosion, right here by Simone Andreoli. To me, this is like an ambrosia without that heavy whipped cream and vanilla. It's more like a thinned out, toned down ambrosia. It still has all those juicy, fresh fruits. Think of a tropical ambrosia. It has guava. I want to say it has mango. It smells like there's cherry in here. Very tropical, very happy, a little bit of lime. And the coconut in here, I want to say, is like a coconut milk, but it's very light. This is not milky. This is not lactonic. It has a light, sweet quality. I would have thought it was more along the lines of a coconut water, but this is definitely something that can veer into the tropical drink category. It's very refreshing, very happy. Again, there is a Bath & Body Works lotion or body cream that goes perfectly with this. It's called Firecracker Pop. I don't know if they still carry it. They carried it last year, but the two of them are just a dream. And I always layer them because this one is lighter wearing if I'm going to wear it to work, or I want it to last all day. It doesn't last all day. That's the only downside. I will decant it and put it in, put a little decant in my backpack. This is just happy, sunshine, tropical fruit, coconutty yumminess. I love it. One of my absolute favorite fragrances from last year, particularly last summer. This was, to me, my summer perfume. And one of the best tobacco fragrances, in my opinion, is this beauty right here. It's by City Rhythm, and it's called Miami. Now, I upsized. I actually started out with the travel size and realized very quickly that I wanted to get a full bottle. I took the travel size with me on my vacation to Florida last year, and it was absolutely perfect. I don't know how he did it, but he created a summer-friendly tobacco fragrance, which is just to die for. This is so delicious. It has tobacco, but the tobacco is not very smoky. It's not too heavy. It's offset by rum. So it's got these delicious tropical, you know, Florida vibes that you would smell in Miami. Lime, coconut. There's a little bit of saffron to give it a little bit of spicy, like the spicy nightlife of Miami. There's a little bit of sugar cane in here to give a little bit of sweetness, but it's not overly sweet. It's not overly cloying. I just think that sugar cane, that rum really offset the tobacco perfectly. This works great day and night. I wore this super hot weather in Florida. It was like 97 degrees. You would think a tobacco perfume would be too heavy and overwhelming. No, there was something about it that was still very refreshing. It was probably the lime in here, a little bit of the coconut. It was just absolutely perfect, beautiful. I love so many City Rhythm perfumes, but this is right at the top, delicious. Another right at the top, delicious perfume. I think it's probably my favorite House of Sillage cupcake. I own a lot of cupcakes. I adore them. This one I've been obsessed with since it came out. And I'm happy to see a lot of people coming around to it and embracing it and loving it like I love it. This is one of the best citrusy, gourmandy perfumes in my collection. I absolutely love it. If you love citrusy vanillas, you will love this. To me, this is like a lemon vanilla coconut cupcake with a slight light peach drizzle. So there's coconut in here, there's vanilla in here, you've got a little bit of peach. There are florals in here. So if you are a floral hater, you only like gourmand fragrances, I think you could still very much love this one. The florals are very much in the background. They're not very heavy. This has great performance. It lasts all day. It comes out of the gates very gourmandy and very sweet. And I've told this story before. My mom, we call her Picky Lori here. She does not like coconut. She does not like vanilla. She doesn't like anything sweet. She really despises sweet fragrances. They make her ill. Now, I wore this when she was in town visiting me, and she gave me a hug, and she said, "Oh, I smell your perfume." I said, "Mom, do you like it?" She says, "No." And she didn't have to tell me why. I knew it because it's sweet. It's got a lot of vanilla. It's got a lot of coconut. It's sweet. Now, later on that day, she gave me a hug. We were dropping them off at the airport. She said, "Oh, you smell so good. What is that?" And I said, "Mom, it's the perfume that you didn't like this morning." She goes, "Well, I love it now." So it is very sweet and gourmand when you first spray it and you first wear it, but like in the dry down, the mid dry down, it really does smooth out and becomes a light, more delicate, citrusy, woody fragrance with a little bit of sweetness. It's not overwhelming. It's got a little bit of muskiness to it. So you just smell like really clean and fresh and a little bit sweet, like your own sweet skin, but better. Absolutely delicious. I'm obsessed with this fragrance. The only perfume in my collection, I totally gave up buying backups. I thought it was ridiculous. I gave up that habit. This is the only one that I have considered breaking my rule of not giving a backup, but I've held strong. House of Sillage, please don't stop making this beauty. The next fragrance is also new to my collection. It is by the lovely Maya and Jai, and it is called Tropica. Now, I have seen this brand over on Instagram and been very, very interested in getting my nose on several of the creations. So I was really thrilled when Maya herself reached out and asked if she could send me some fragrances. So I was thrilled. Now, I didn't know which one she was going to send me. She was quite lovely. She sent me this one, and she sent me a discovery set. We will talk about that in a second. This fragrance is perfect for this video. It is another vegan fragrance. So all of her fragrances are vegan, and they are drawn from her memories. She's part Swedish, she's part Gambian. And this particular fragrance was made in the memory of her travels to Gambia. It was very tropical. They would pull fresh citruses from the trees, fresh coconuts. It is a very light, tropical, salty, fresh fragrance that is perfect for those who do not want something overly sweet, overly lactonic, overly creamy. You don't want to smell like sunscreen. You want to smell like a tropical breeze. And this to me is almost like a fresh tropical breeze and a beautiful fruity spritzer combined into one. So when you first spray this is actually my scent of the day on my left hand, and on my right arm I'm wearing something else. I'm wearing another one of her creations. It's called Vaniglia. I'm obsessed with that one too. But when you first spray this, you are going to get a lot of very ripe fruits. I get a powerful, very ripe pineapple, and it comes out pretty strong, and then it really kind of dies down and it becomes this fresh, fruity, tropical spritzer, almost as if there's ambergris in here, so there's a little bit of saltiness, and that ambergris translates to me like a mineral water, so it gives it this spritzy vibe. Very fresh, it's very light, it's very breezy, and it has a lovely, like I want to say sandalwood or cedar in the dry down, a little bit of musk. So I actually took it down to Houston with me when I left just a couple weeks ago, and it was like a perfect out and about fragrance. It's going to be perfect on those hot summer days, again, because it's very refreshing and it's not overly creamy, thick, or heady. So I'm very excited to have this in my collection and give this wears on those really hot days. Now she is located in London currently, and I think she has fragrance classes and does bespoke fragrances. So if you're in the area, I strongly recommend you pop by. She does seem like a lovely, lovely person. And I have found several in the Discovery set that I'm loving. On this arm, I'm wearing Vaniglia, and it is so delicious. It is a cardamom woody vanilla that's not overly sweet, so it would be something in the range of like an eau de Vie. If you like something like that, you would like this. I actually like Vanilla better. It's a little bit sweeter. It has a gourmand flair, but it's not overly gourmandy, so absolutely delicious, and I highly, highly recommend you checking out the brand. Now, speaking of tropical getaways, one of my favorite tropical coconutty perfumes of all time, this is a 10 out of 10 Floral Gourmand, has been Ylang In Gold. I cannot say enough wonderful things about this perfume. I have had this or something similar to this in my fragrance collection for 10 years. I really do enjoy the scent profile. It is vanilla, you have ylang, you have coconut, and those together, to me, smell like a banana pudding. So that's the gourmand aspect in here. So it is sweet, it has a little bit of a gourmand flair, but it also has some refreshing notes. You've got a little bit of peach, a little bit of lychee, a creamy sandalwood, and oak moss in the base, which does give it a little bit of kind of an earthy freshness, like a mossiness. This is like I've said this so many times, 10 out of 10 Floral Gourmand, 10 out of 10 tropical coconutty floral perfume. If I was going to get married and I was going to have a destination wedding, I would wear this. This would be my scent, my bridal scent. If I was going away to be a guest at a tropical wedding, this would be my scent. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, speaking of more tropical fragrances, this is for my Italian viewers. But I have come to find out that I have friends and subscribers all over the world, including Italy. Now, a lot of times I speak of fragrances that are easier to get in the United States just because I live here. And so I'm sure that's frustrating for those of you in Europe. Now I'm going to be speaking to my Italian friends or anybody traveling to Italy. If you are traveling to Italy, specifically Siena, even though I think you can get this brand anywhere, I highly recommend you drop into Amantheros. I will put the name below. This fragrance is beautiful. It is called Makai, which in Hawaiian means towards the ocean or towards the sea. This originally started out to be a bespoke fragrance. The creator of this fragrance, and I'm blanking on his nose, he has a very Italian name, created this for some women who were in another perfume shop, I want to say in Milan, and they absolutely loved it. So he added it to the collection and is now available for everybody. This is a very interesting take on a coconut. It's like a coconutty sandalwood perfume. I don't have anything in it that smells like it, but it's a very coconutty forward. So it has coconut and coconut leaf. So I do get a little bit of that green coconut. Now the green coconut is not always my favorite note. It can be a little bit headache inducing to me, particularly if I wear it in the summer on a hot day. I can smell it in here. It just gives it a little bit of a green freshness. You will recognize both the coconut and a little bit of that green coconut. There's a tiny bit of florals. I don't know the flowers in here, but it is really in the background. This has a wonderful note of sand, and it's very warm. It smells like warm sand. It also has some fruits, maybe a little bit of, if I had to pick something out, I would say like guava or pineapple, but it's subtle. But it's a little bit fruity, but it doesn't smell like a tropical drink. It has some florals. It doesn't smell like sunscreen. It has vanilla in here. It's not overly sweet, and I would not at all call it a gourmand. So one of the most unique, beautiful coconut sandalwood perfumes in my collection. The last time I talked about this, somebody was very excited in the comments and said this was her signature scent, and every time she wears it, she gets compliments. So if you live in Italy and you wanted to get some of these perfumes, they will ship anywhere in Italy, but I do not believe they ship outside of Italy. So because of that, I did not want to talk about it because it's one of my favorite coconut perfumes, but I definitely wanted to mention it because if you are in Italy, you're traveling to Italy, go in there. I have another one from the brand. There's so many good ones. Give them a sniff. So in front of me, I have one of the most expensive in my coconut video and the least expensive in my coconut video. Now this next one, which is called Castling by Mind Games, it does not list coconut in the notes, but this is an example of a perfume that the notes together combined remind me of a green coconut. So the notes I'm thinking that are smelling like a green coconut are fig, sandalwood, and salt. Those are all in here. And I could have sworn there was coconut in here, but there's not. I checked and double checked. So if you were a fan of that green coconut note, get your nose on this. I know this line is expensive. It's not going to be for everybody, but I have found so many gems in here, and they offer travel sizes and samples. And the ones I really love, I upsized to a full bottle. So in addition to that, that green coconut vibe, very clean, very fresh, very pristine. It has iris or orris, but it's got a little bit of that powderiness, probably a little bit of musk. So it's got a little bit of cleanness. It's a little bit fresh, and it heads into the soapy zone, but it doesn't quite get there. So it's clean and fresh without being soapy. Absolutely beautiful. Strongly recommend. Again, if you like that green coconut vibe, get your nose on that. And I'm like a broken record with this. One of my favorite affordable fragrances. I found this last year by accident, and I'm loving that it is going viral and getting lots of attention because I think this is a huge love for me. Now, with regards to Arabian or the Middle Eastern fragrances, a lot of them just do not work for me. And I feel like I have to kiss a lot of frogs to find the princess. This was definitely a prince. This was just accidental. I was like roaming around on Joma Shop last year. I want to say like October, November. And I found this and I thought, gosh, that's the coolest bottle. Do I really care? This is the coolest bottle. It was very affordable. I went ahead and bought it and I loved it. I've been loving it. This is a sandalwood coconut perfume with a little bit of some tropical yellow florals. But to me, I really get like a coconutty sandalwood, and like all Middle Eastern fragrances, it just gets better with time. It gets a little bit more ambery. It has a ambery sweetness in the dry down that reminds me a little bit of the Santal Complet, the amber and Santal Complet. Now they're not the same. I've worn them side by side. The amber and Santal Complet is sweeter, but it's similar to me. It has a similar vibe. I also like that I don't have anything else in my collection that this reminds me of. I do feel like this is more on the original side. As far as I know, it's not a dupe of anything, at least anything I own. It is a beautiful resinous, coconutty sandalwood with a little hint of, I want to say Ylang Ylang or frangipani. I know it's a yellow flower. It's subtle, it's there, but it's not overwhelming. And I think I paid $30 for this. So I imagine the price is probably going to be coming up if it hasn't already, just because I've really seen it kind of catch on and show up on other people's Instagram accounts and YouTube videos for a reason. This is really good. So if you like vanilla, if you like a dusty, ambery, resinous, coconutty vanilla, this is great, and it's going to be fabulous in the warmer weather. So this next one might be a surprise. The last video you saw me do was called My Wish List. Now in fairness, I filmed that about 3 to 4 weeks ago. I haven't been filming in a while. I've been traveling. And I said, even though I loved it, I absolutely loved it, just thought it was amazing, I wasn't going to get it because it smelled too similar to other fragrances in my collection. Now, look at me. I lie like a dog. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I absolutely was in love with this. This is Gioiosa by Profumum Romum. I think it means joy and happiness. Someone's going to correct me. I know that. This perfume is what I wanted Bianco Latte to be. Bianco Latte is a beautiful perfume. I completely understand why it's gone viral and is so popular. However, There was a little bit of it that I just didn't like. It was the coumarin. So coumarin is in there. That comes from the tonka bean. Now coumarin to me can smell like sweet grass or like mint. And I got this sweet grassy mintiness in Bianca Latte. I also got this like plastic doll head thing going on. So sometimes I really like that vibe in fragrances. It just has to go with the perfume. Other times it's just not my favorite. I prefer to do without it. This is like Bianca Latte. It's less nuclear sister without the plastic and without that strong coumarin note. Now, even though doesn't come out of the gates as strong as Bianca Latte, this one lasts literally forever on my skin and clothes. I sprayed it on a sweater, and when I went to go pick up that sweater in the laundry room the next day, I could just, it was wafting in the air. So this one is long and strong, slow and steady. It has a little bit of citruses that Bianca Latte doesn't have. The citruses to me are in the background. They're not as front and center as say the coconut and vanilla. And again, Bianca Latte doesn't have coconut. This is coconut. So this is a coconutty vanilla perfume. It is very, very smooth. I don't think milk or lactones or anything is in here, but is a creamy, smooth, sweet, vanillic coconut perfume with a little bit of citruses that are detectable and a little bit of florals in the background. I want to say jasmine, but I know somebody out there, you know who you are. I'm not going to mention your name, you know who you are, who hates florals, who only likes gourmands. She loves this perfume. So if you hate florals, don't be afraid of this perfume, particularly if you see the note of jasmine. It's very subtle. These fragrances are so seamlessly blended. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to pick out the notes. But I absolutely love this, and as a result, I've already gotten rid of, I had 2 different milk formulations. At least one of those is going, and another one in that scent category is going, because I don't need all that many. I don't need 5 different fragrances in that fragrance category, and this one I think is my favorite. It is so, so good. It's pricey, so it's not going to be for everybody, but I just couldn't get it out of my head. Love that I have it. Speaking of another coconut vanilla combo is this beautiful one right here, also kind of in the same category as Bianca Latte. This is Madera. So again, Bianca Latte, caramel vanilla, doesn't have, very lactonic, does not have coconut. This is caramel vanilla with a beautiful coconut, like a big dose of coconut. So this to me is like a coconut macaroon with a caramel drizzle, like a light, not heavy, not bruleed, but a light caramel drizzle. It's almost as if you took Escapade Gourmand, a thinned out Bianca Latte, combined those and added coconut. You're going to come up with this. It's very, very pretty, very light, very lovely. Definitely, I got mine from Lucky Scent. Definitely recommend testing it first. It's another one that's expensive. I'm getting towards the end. Now I wanted to mention this one, Coconut Nanas. Not because I have a full bottle, but because I know somebody's going to ask me about it in the comments, and I wanted to let you know that I have tried it. I know 2 people, this is their favorite coconut perfume of all time. So I did want to mention it, and it's a very, very good coconut fragrance. Even though I don't have a full bottle, and I won't be getting a full bottle because I have so many, like I said, I have 6 coconut fragrances that are heading for the Makai chop block because I realized I hadn't worn them in a year. And so that's my litmus test. If I haven't worn you in a year and an entire season has gone by, you need to go. But I think this is a fabulous fragrance, and I can see why people like it. It is a very tropical drink style type of a coconut. So when I say tropical drink, I'm thinking like pineapple coconut. And I get a little bit of peach in here. I'm not sure, I'm not sure if it has peach in here, but I get like it's so good, like a pineapple-y, peachy, fruity sweetness that goes really, really well with the coconut. It's quite delicious. It's almost mouth-watering. And I want to say there's probably just some background tropical florals, light tropical florals, nothing too heavy. This is beautiful and syrupy, but not overly sweet. And then the last one, I think I'm going to end with one of my favorite coconut fragrances of all time. I've been talking about this brand for as long as I've had my channel, and I love to see that the brand is getting a lot of notice in the past 2 years because I think this brand does gourmands terrifically. If I had to pick one coconut, well, This is definitely top 5, probably top 3. This is Coco Aliv Vaniglia. This is for my gourmand lovers, my gourmand girlies and guys who love something really sweet. I mean, this is coconut, this is vanilla, whipped cream, tonka. I mean, it's I love this. It's 100% gourmand. It's delicious. It's like a coconut cake meets a coconut oil. And I'm not talking suntan oil. There are 0 florals in here. But I'm just saying, if you took the coconut and you were strong enough to squeeze the coconut oil out, added some sugar, and then added that to like a cake, a coconut cake with some whipped cream, you're going to get this perfume. It is delicious. I've said it before, it has kind of this cakey, creamy gooiness like a coconut tres leche cake. And my son, who used to edit my videos, who doesn't edit my videos anymore because he went away to college, used to sit at my computer and edit my videos. And at my computer desk would be loads and loads of samples and perfume bottles and decants, and he would just, out of boredom, smell them. He's only said 2 of my fragrances out of all my perfume. Oh my goodness, I'm glad this is my last one because my camera battery has quit on me twice. It means I'm talking too loud, but anyways, or talking too long. But he's only said 2 fragrances have ever smelled good. And he said, Mom, what is this one? It smells so good. This is my son's favorite fragrance in all of my collection. And even Picky Pat, who hates gourmands, said this smells good. So, oh my gosh, that is just some of my favorite coconut fragrances at the moment. Fragrances that I will be wearing. Again, I'm getting rid of the ones that I didn't wear in a year, even though some of them I really like. I do have a lot of coconut perfumes. As I've said, coconut is one of my very favorite notes. I don't know, I love vanilla too, so the 2 just kind of seem to go hand in hand. Thanks again for sticking around. Thanks for watching. If you have been enjoying my content and have not yet subscribed to me, I would love it if you would join my YouTube community. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you're aware when I upload a video. It would really help me out. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up and let me know down below. Let us know down below if you have a coconut fragrance that I haven't talked about. Please let us know in the comments below. I'm sure we'd all love to hear about it. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.